So I've been lost in the land of PlayStation VR, and one game I had to check out first was Horizon Call of the Mountain. Is this what everybody's been waiting for? Is this the next step for Horizon, or are we just gonna miss Aloy? Let's find out.
Find out why the machines are attacking. And you shall be a free man.
Well, as much fun as I've already had with PlayStation VR 2 and Horizon Call of the Mountain, gotta say, I'm missing Aloy. As much as it's been a nice iteration to go into VR versus what we've experienced, it's hard not to just completely compare the two. We've been there for Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West. We know this big, massive landscape we get to use as a playground. And then you get into Call of the Mountain. Well, Call of the Mountain, you play as a prisoner, a Shadow Carja, broken free on the hunt to track down somebody. I'll leave it at that. You can play the game to figure that out. From there, you go in and start climbing. They should have called it Horizon Climb of the Mountain. I think that would have went a little easier. Because all you do is climb. For the most part, 75% of this game is just climbing. Climbing this rock, that mountain, this mountain, grabbing your pickaxes, climbing up and scaling something else, and then you get into this wave of fighting some machines. The opening sequence to the game is easily the best part of the game. It is that awe-inspiring moment. We've all seen it through the trailers as we've been building up to the release of the game. And that moment set the tone moving forward. And then when you get into the game, I'm going from point A to point B in a very linear path, climbing up some rocks, climbing up some more mountains, climbing over here, fighting off a couple machines, to then do it all over again. Point A, point B. No open world. Or very little. And I mean very little. I eventually reached the path where I had diverging intersections of where I could go. That was it. The very beginning set the tone. My expectations were up here. By the end of the game, I was down maybe about there.
I think that's all.
So we play as Reyes. Reyes is a guy I've not been able to connect with. It's one of those things. Aloy, we got to grow up in her story, right? She started off as this little girl, then she grows into a full-fledged adult, then saves the world. Yeah, never heard of that story before, have you? Then we get into Reyes, who's the Shadow Carja, the bad guy, essentially, right? It's kind of how they play out. They're not really well welcomed here at all in the world of Horizon. And I didn't get the connection with the character because I didn't get much of a backstory. We hear a little bit here or there. We kind of hear his thoughts as he progresses through the game. And then the person you were trying to track down and what the relationship is there and how that kind of plans out.
Nice.
But over the course of the time, I didn't have this, I need to do this for him kind of scenario. And I think that's what was really missing. The game itself is fun, actually. The experiencing the machines in the game are top notch. It is cool to finally get into the world too and look at some of the characters at eye level. We're so used to playing Aloy from a distance in this third person perspective that you don't normally get to see them at this kind of range. Well, welcome to VR, because now all of a sudden I'm almost 6 feet, so I'm looking at characters like eye level or some a little bit shorter. That's a cool experience to kind of get into that world. And then when you're going in and battling up some of these machines as well, that is cool. It is so cool. But again, it's just wasn't enough. This is supposed to be the showstopper for PSVR 2. Is it? No, it's not. It's close, but it's not. And that kind of left me wanting more. Besides the actual main campaign, there are a couple other little modes you can go into. There's a testing grounds that allow you to kind of go into an obstacle course. And there you can line up your bow and arrow and start shooting away. The best mechanic in the game is actually the bow and arrow. The eye tracking mechanic for the PSVR 2 really lends well to this because it makes it work. I think that's what really allows you to line up and kind of get that power in you. It feels really cool when you do pull off a nice shot with the bow and arrow. Often a lot of the games don't really feel this good for that mechanic, especially when you throw things in VR. Normally it's awful. You try to whip it across the room or wherever you're throwing this object and it just doesn't. It just falls flat in your face, like just down by your feet. I've done that so many times. It's irritating. With the eye tracking here with PSVR 2, I think this allows us to kind of step that up, and it really bodes well with the bow and arrow mechanic and some other trinkets and weapons you kind of get as it progresses. It also has this lock-on system because of the eye tracking, allows it to pick up where you're looking and then locks on, and you can throw things, and yeah, it works well, which is nice to see. They also have this machine safari. I'm telling you, if you get to play this game, just check that out. It was really cool. It was sick. I liked it a lot. It was a nice little touch. All in all, I've had a good time. I was really hoping for that great time. For me, Horizon Call of the Mountain is at a 7.5. There's a lot of moments where I was like, oh, that's cool. That's really cool. This is cool. Oh, wow. Did you see that kind of experience? But it wasn't that Horizon Forbidden West experience we just came off of not too long ago. And I was hoping for a little bit more. A more relatable character, more backstory. At the end of the day, just wanted a bit more.
Keep taking pieces off.